we're working, we're in the lab, and we're gonna make sure this happens as soon as possible.
Welcome to an episode of the Sports Genes Into the Lab podcast, where sports analysts and experts dissect the latest news from the NBA and NFL, giving you a unique view on some of the hottest topics around your favorite teams. From the fresh field smells of the NFL to the hardwood courts of the NBA, and possibly your comfy couch for your fantasy football team. Let's see what kind of news the lab is working with today. Here's your host from the Sports Analytics headquarters in San Antonio, Texas, Ernest Silva.
It's the NBA playoffs, and what two better gentlemen on your screen than Kenny and I? That is right. Kenny Carter, my co-host for season 4. What's up, man?
So it's Lakers play-in evening, which means it's time for me to watch my first Laker game of the year. In honor of LeBron, I've got the wine, so I'm keeping it classy, enjoying a nice Cab Sav, and let's get this dub because McDaniels broke his hand and Rudy punched a guy. So, it's kind of lining up for us at this point.
It's more like you're playing the R Wolves and the T Wolves. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess so. That's one way of looking at it.
So you feel good about tonight then, Kenny?
I mean, they're -8.5. If you don't feel good about your team at that juncture, I don't know when you do. So knowing my luck, I'm probably just jinxing them and they're going to lose tonight. But I'm going to tune in anyways because I should.
That's absolutely wonderful. Kenny Carter, everybody. I'm your host, Ernest Silva. We are live tonight. ITL is here. The playing game has started. And if you haven't been watching, Miami is putting on a dog shit of a show. And so excited. Kenny, what's the latest update? What's the score over there in Miami?
Last time I looked, they were now they're down 9, 81-72 with 3 minutes to go in the third.
Okay. All right. The battle to play the Celtics first round. I see it.
So I'm kind of wondering if they're ducking Boston. I know that you get Milwaukee if you win, but in a way, if you do for whatever reason knock off Milwaukee, you get the winner of Cavs and Knicks compared to potentially playing Sixers next round. So maybe it is a strategy to avoid that matchup. They have beat Milwaukee in the past couple of years in the playoffs. So
I did not think they were that bad. When I saw them down 20 in the first quarter or in the second quarter, I was like, no, this is not that bad of a team. This is definitely a tank job here.
I mean, it does feel like they're one of those teams where they do struggle to score. They lean a lot on Butler. When Butler's off, then they're just overall out of whack. And I think they were hoping that guys like Lowry and Oladipo could maybe provide some secondary scoring outside of Tyler Hero, and it just hasn't really happened for them.
Yep. Nope. That's very real. That's very real. Of course, many people would say they see the Heat and they say,
a fraud!
That's right. But we're not going to go there yet. That game has a lot left to play there in the third quarter. So we'll keep in tune on what's going on there. Of course, today we're dissecting the NBA playoffs, round 1 coverage of the play-in, and then going NBA playoffs right thereafter. And then we are going to talk Tankathon and talk some Rockets basketball in round 2. Then, of course, it's our very solemn regret that this is our final regular weekly show of season 4. We go to a monthly schedule. We'll talk about what that monthly schedule looks like over the summer as we give a Trey update. That's right. Trey is on the way. He's almost here, 6 weeks out. We're excited for Trey to be here. And if you don't know who Trey is, I'll let you know that as well. But of course, we are powered by BCMG. Better Together, the coin phrase, season 2 of that coin phrase. Shout out to all of our sports scientists not on here today. Maybe you guys jump in. But let's start off with round number 1. The NBA has started. We are going to dissect some of these matchups. We started talking about it, but let's talk a little bit more before we go into the late game for today. The Heat struggling early against the Hawks. The Hawks look like a playoff team. Clint Capella was all over the place. You had Trae Young looking in his prime. I mean, there was DeJounte Murray looked great. I mean, there was nothing that I would say was going wrong for the Hawks in the first half. Kenny, when you look at the Heat, there's a lot of older names on that team, right? Oladipo, Lowry, even Bam wasn't looking 100% out there. Butler was 3 for 12 at one point. I don't know where he's at right now. The Heat don't look quite like the Heat of the last few years when they go into the playoffs. What's different this year for the Heat?
I think it's just kind of a culmination of poor moves that they've made over the last number of years. In the NFL, we make fun of teams that paid running backs and then the running backs didn't do anything afterwards. That's the same now with paying just strictly 3-point shooters, because you pay Joe Harris, he does nothing. You pay Davis Bertans, he does nothing. And in Miami's case, you paid Duncan Robinson 5 years, 90, I think is what his contract was.
That's correct.
He hasn't played a minute tonight.
Yikes.
Completely buried in that bench because
you paid to keep Max Strus too.
When you're on, you're on. Like, shoot or shoot, plug of a former podcast. But
garbage.
Overall, when you're off, like, there's just no room for you on the floor. And he hasn't been hot shooting from the three in a year or two. Like, is that I mean, he's 37%, but when you're that supposed to be that good, you got to be 40 plus or you just won't find a role. So
right.
You look at that move. You already talked about Strus. You overpaid for Lowry, which thank God you can get out from under his contract next year. But by that point, the ship has sailed. We're talking about Jimmy Butler, who's on the downturn of his career. He's 33 years old. Probably got this year and next year, but after that, it's just going to be downhill from there. You can't keep leaning on him to score 30 or 40 to win games. Bam's a great defensive player, but offensively, he's fairly limited. He's kind of just like a slightly better Gobert. So I think that's just a culmination of a team that peaked with the NBA Finals in the bubble, and now they're struggling.
And if you're and I know we're talking playing, so let's not go into blowing up off-season Heat. But I mean, if you're the Heat, do you change course, right? Like Jimmy's the guy, and then who else is a Tyler Herro, right? I guess he's there.
But I don't know how you change course if you're Miami. It kind of feels like you have to ride it out another year because no one's going to take that Duncan Robinson contract.
Nobody,
because you can't sell them on, well, it's expiring because it's not. There's a few more years left there. So now you're kind of just stuck in purgatory with him. Lowry, you're going to have to watch him lumber up and down the court for another year. I think a lot of people thought that was a terrible contract when they signed it, and just a bad reconstruction of a finals roster more than anything else.
Yep, we'll keep you posted on live gameplay. The Hawks, so on a different level, and I was all over how bad the Hawks were last week, so poo-poo on me. But I will say this, the Murray-Young show is off to a hot start in the 2023 playoffs, but the Hawks in general struggled with injuries all year and then struggled with the coaching change, culture issues. There were already rumors before this game that Trae Young may not be staying in Atlanta this offseason. So I've seen him in many Rockets uniforms. So if we have to talk about the Hawks themselves, let's say they win this game, they end up Hawks-Celtics first round, which is
5 games.
A 5-game series, right? Gentleman sweep, at least in our opinion. Do you think the Hawks' future is there? Like, are you a believer of Murray Young in that backcourt for Atlanta?
I think it can work, and I actually think that they're a little bit closer maybe than we're giving them credit for. I think it ultimately comes down to you got to dump either Collins or Capella. And I think we've talked about this before on the show that, man, those two together, it is legitimately the Eastern Conference Gobert and Towns.
But they've tried. Nobody wants Collins.
But
like they've tried.
So Capella, I don't know how many years are left on his deal. I would imagine you have at least, is it 2 after this year or is it this year and 1 more?
2 more.
Well, then it gets even tougher because I would be okay if you could just play Collins at the 5.
Right.
Don't know what team wants Clint Capella unless they're just in full-on rebuild mode. They're willing to take on that contract. But I think you got to dump one of them because in order to make this work where you have a bunch of shooters around Trae Young and Murray, you can't be that clunky. And like, look at Capella's stat line tonight: 2.17 rebounds.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I love the fact he's getting boards, but do I think that Collins could just get those rebounds, bring a little bit more on offense, and then you could throw Sadiq Bey or Bogdanovic into the starting lineup, really make it kind of how the Warriors have played for years, which is the 4 out, 1 in style? I think it's doable, and then you have Okongwu as your backup center, but
do I rather
so
do I rather 217 or do I rather 611? I mean, am I right? I mean, like that's my point. I love Capella, right? But I'll tell you somebody who would pay for Capella. The Houston Rockets, if James Harden comes back. I mean, am I right? I mean, the return. The return.
Wait, so you're going to rebuild Houston of 3 years ago, but older and worse? I mean, it's a bold strategy. I don't. Well,
what did Daryl Morey say? Is it's the elevation, right? He says we gotta buy the airspace, and that's how we win games.
So who do you think's most likely to get shipped out if you've got Okongwu, Murray, and Capella?
Between those three, it's Capella. It's Capella.
It has to be because Okongwu, you then still have no cap space to work with. Collins, I don't know who wants him, and then feels like Capella's the odd man out. So if you could run a rotation where you add in one of those two guys, punt Capella, and then I love that title. But then you have Bey or Bogdanovic starting, one of them off the bench, and then your bench unit is one of those guys, Okongwu, Johnson, maybe AJ Griffin mixed into the mix. It's not bad.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Welcome to the show, Just Luke making his appearance. He says T-Wolves have a puncher's chance.
This is second reference to punching with the T-Wolves. So
that is true.
The over-under line's at 4.5 tonight.
All right. What's up, Luke?
I'm currently watching the Penguins fight for their playoff lives right now against the shittiest team in the NHL. So that makes my life awesome right now.
That sounds like you're in a very tough
And you're
place.
trailing in the third?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago's not on a back-to-back. It's fine.
Yeah.
What a great segue. Lakers take on the Wolves tonight and what we are deeming a puncher's chance for the Wolves, and that's 3 now, Kenny. But also a game the Lakers.
There's no way that we don't go over by the end of this segment.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're gonna play the Rudy Gobert clip now. No, I'm just kidding. We're not. All right. So, I didn't think it would happen, but the Timberwolves have suspended Rudy Gobert for tonight's game. McDaniels decides he's frustrated and punches a wall and takes himself out of this game. And so the Wolves lean again on Cat, who just came back from his big injury. And so here we are, Timberwolves, Lakers, and the Lakers are healthy. Like, the Lakers are back. So the Lake show's here. LeBron is sipping on whatever he sips on nowadays. And we've got the swag back in the Lake show. So, Kenny, this is your team. I'll let you talk because I'm going to talk a lot on the Rockets later. How do you see this game going? Where do the Lakers want the Grizzlies?
So here's what Minnesota doesn't have tonight. They don't have Gobert because outside of giving the entire league COVID, he also decided to punch his teammate in the face on the
Shout
bench.
out Kyle Anderson.
Shout out Kyle Anderson. Jaden McDaniels out, broken hand. Naz Reid broke his wrist a couple weeks ago. He's out for this game. They still have Noel and Karl Anthony Towns are game time decisions. I'm assuming they're playing, but regardless, it's can Ant-Man and Cat win on their own tonight? Because they're not going to have a lot of help outside of that and Conley. The Lakers do have the best record since the All-Star break in the West. They finally have some semblance of defense and depth. It should be a Lakers win tonight. They're only minus 8.5 at home against a team that's missing 3 key players. So if you don't win tonight, I'm not looking forward to playing either Brandon Ingram or Shai Gilgeous with your playoff lives on the line. So go win tonight. For the love of God, just win this game. I don't care who you get out of Memphis and Denver. I think you could win either series. I actually don't think that either team is going to be crazy heavily favored against you. So just please, for the love of God, win this game. Don't give them a puncher's chance.
Like, I personally wish the Lakers were the 10 seed. That's
You
what I
want a
wanted.
10.
I wanted LeBron to get that.
Is it so he wins the title as the 10?
Yeah, I really wanted that storyline.
Is it
but
even a close GOAT debate at that point?
no, not at all. Like
You
it
match
tips him
MJ
over.
as
Yeah,
the 10 seed? Yeah.
I'd have to give it to LeBron. But okay,
Because who's the lowest seed to ever win a title? Is it that Rockets team?
it's the
with
6 seed.
19?
Yeah, the 6 seed Rockets.
So even if
Yeah.
they win the title this year, still technically the lowest seed to ever win a title.
He'll have that on the resume. Yep. So we'd have to see. We'd have to see. Luke, you obviously have an opinion here.
Well, so whoever's played in the play-in series games, that team that has won has never won a series after that. So he's already gonna make history.
That is true.
At some point. It's very small sample size, but
2
it's
years.
still something else to add to the already laundry list of things that he has accomplished in his career. I mean, I don't think they have any problems with Minnesota tonight. And even if they get Memphis, they're really hurt. Memphis is banged up bad.
No Steven Adams probably for the playoffs.
That's
music to
huge
Anthony
against
Davis's ears.
If Anthony Davis stays healthy, I mean, that's huge not having like 3 of their top best defense guys on the court. I mean, that's
what?
But yeah, so I mean, the Lakers should win this. I mean, if they don't, this might be one of the biggest disappointments of his career. So we could add that to the list.
It would be the biggest disappointment of my lifetime as a Lakers fan, not because I legitimately think they're going to win the title, but I gave up on you in January. Like, actually, to be honest, I probably gave up on you in November. I was like, the Lakers are bad. Like, I didn't talk about the Lakers on this show ever. I was like,
we brought up the Lakers to Kenny, and we have a live look in on one of those shows.
It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay?
That was
not
Kenny.
Even true. I laughed all the time, but it was like, okay, they're awful. Matt Ryan is playing minutes, and not
Yeah, I
in the
remember.
So,
Not the quarterback. Not the
they're
quarterback.
awful.
It could have been.
So,
It could have
It
been the
could've been.
quarterback.
so I didn't even pay attention, and that's why I said I'm probably gonna watch my first Laker game tonight.
Nobody has seen both these Matt Ryans in the same place, even
You're
to
right.
today.
You're right.
I will say, if the Lakers lose tonight, I will not be watching the second play-in game.
I will be.
Because
watching
I can't do it, because I would never forgive myself thinking that I was the reason that I tuned into 2 games and they lost both. So I'm just not going to let it happen. Like,
Kenny,
they lost plenty of games without me this year.
The only way the Lakers lose tonight is if Anthony goes
45 points.
45. I was trying to debate. If Anthony Edwards goes 45, 45, 5-5, they win.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Do.
Yep. Let's move on. The Baby Bulls 10 seed trying to get in against those Nick Nurse Raptors. We'll be talking a lot of Nick Nurse today. I don't know why. But the Raptors, the 9 seed versus the play-in Bulls, guys, we're not going to dissect this too much today, but I was told this was the hardest play-in game to decide for the week. I got to ask you guys, who do you have in this one?
Luke, who's winning?
Oh,
Easy money!
I don't know. I'm gonna go with Bulls ?
Bulls. DeMar DeRozan
I don't know.
is ball playing. Bulls gets the first bid from Luke ? I was told from an audience member the Bulls are the semi-lock for them. I am going to go Raptors in this game. Okay, I'm going to go Raptors. Penguins might have scored. I am going to go Raptors from the sheer reason of I think they're going to actually play a playoff series. I think the Raptors were buyers. They're going to push. They win one for the Nurse. So going Raptors in this game. Kenny, who do you have?
So I haven't got hate in my DMs in a long time on Twitter. And I did for a tweet that I made this morning, which was, We're only one day away from DeMar DeRozan eliminating Raptors from the playoffs, and I'm here for it.
No shit.
And Canadians got mad.
Yikes.
They got furious. I went into a work meeting today, came out, and I had like 7 DMs of like, fuck you. DeMar's totally losing.
Here's a live look at competitive hedges.
The Raptors were buyers at the deadline. There's no way that they lose this game. And I want for sheer anarchy to have DeMar DeRozan hit a game winner in Toronto to eliminate the Raptors after they were buyers at the deadline for no reason. So give me the Bulls. I'm going to put money on Bulls money line. And if I lose, I'm fine with it. But just for the sheer storyline, give me Bulls money line tomorrow.
There you go. Slip into Kenny's DMs. Live look at his audience from earlier this morning.
What?
That's
I never
right.
block people, but like I had to mute a couple conversations. I'm like, this is harsh.
What are we doing?
I mean, you guys know that it's the play-in game, right? And it's not even the one to get into the playoffs. This is just
The Raptors are the team to beat in the East. Did you
I'm
not
just
hear
saying,
about that,
5
Kenny?
So
years
even
ago,
if the
we're not having
Raptors
fun.
win,
They're not in yet.
Here's what's funny. They could win this game and then they play Miami. They could win that game and then they still get swept by the Bucks.
Yikes.
Who
Yikes.
cares?
It's not like the Bucks are getting further in the second round either, so that's a very big slight. All right, let's move on. The 9-10 matchup in the West is the wonderful Pelicans and Thunder game. Pelicans and the Pelicans, the second favorite odds for Kenny to win the Western Conference. So exciting to see his team get a play-in spot. The Thunder, they're just happy to be here at this point. I honestly, fans are torn. We did a poll. That poll said, Thunder fans, would you rather be in the play-in or be tanking for Wemby? And it was 50-50 down the middle. So the fan base is torn. And so the Thunder don't even know what they want. So let's go ahead and dissect this game, guys. Pelicans, the injury-ridden Pelicans, have Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram has been playing fantastic as of late. And that is just short of saying brilliant. And the Thunder have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been the tremendous all-star that he has been all year, a fantasy god. So let's break it down. I have Pelicans winning this game, and I don't think it's close. I think Shai is in the same boat as Edwards. Shai would have to go off to make sure the Pelicans stay out. And I have the Pelicans moving on in this first playoff game, in the first play-in game. Kenny.
I want to pick the Thunder really bad, but I actually don't think that they want to win this game.
I agree. There's no reason to.
The Pelicans are under way more pressure because even without Zion, they made moves for CJ and Valanciunas, and Ingram's healthy. They're 5.5-point favorites at home. And I think if they win, they have a legitimate shot at beating Minnesota if they lose tonight. So I think the Pelicans want it. I think that they want the smoke of playing Denver because we saw them push Phoenix last year. And I really think that they could do it again with the roster that they have. Now, the concerning part is there's no Alvarado for that game and there's no Zion. So they do lose a little bit of defense and offense on both sides. So I'll pick the Pelicans to win. I definitely wouldn't bet -5.5 though. Like, I'm hoping that the Thunder are wanting to tank, but Shea could also just do what he's done all year and go for 45, kind of like we're talking about Ant-Man potentially doing.
Completely agree. Luke, who you have?
We're just gonna skip like that didn't happen. Okay.
What a great pick, Luke.
Give me a hell yeah!
Pretty much. So I take it Zion's injured again. I would assume. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Pelicans just because I want to piss Davis off if he even watches this anymore. So we'll go with the Pelicans.
There we go. Pelicans getting that spot.
Hey,
there.
when do we get to do the I know that we've been talking about doing this for years, but when do we get to do the ITL Mount Rushmore of former?
We're definitely gonna have to do a special episode for my birthday for that. So we are
No,
gonna
for sure.
Mount
I hope we
Rushmore
just do it at
episode.
the end of the show and that we drum it up. So really give it some thought, and
Just
we'll
draw
see.
it.
We'll see
Okay.
at the end of the. We'll see at the end of the show.
All right. Mount Rushmore has been added
We'll-
to today's segment. We're gonna have
We'll
to zoom
3D
through.
print it. We'll 3D print it for you for your birthday.
If you have not seen the NBA brackets, let's walk us through some of the matchups. Some of these matchups are juicy, guys. Let's start with the 4-5 matchup in the West. Suns Clippers in a series that probably should go 7 with a ton of star power. Paul George, though, is out to start this series, at least the first 2 games. So that kind of leaves a little meat on the bone. But let's talk this out. Suns, 4 stars, in my opinion, 3 for Kenny. And, it's theirs to lose. They're going to start off at home in this series. They're going to take on the Clippers, who have been Kawhi-led, who have a lot of a deep roster, including Eric Gordon. And they played 10 deep in LA for the Clippers, and they believe they're the best team in LA. Whereas the Suns really have a unit that has to focus on 2 stars at a time because of its roster depletion with the trade for KD. So let's break down this matchup. I have the Suns winning this game in 6 because of the Paul George injury. I think they steal one in LA and then end this either at home or on the road in LA. Kenny, who do you have?
I struggle with this one because I'm gonna pick the Suns, but Kawhi healthy, with Paul George healthy, and what I would consider to be probably a deeper roster than Phoenix, it's just very hard to bet against the first player in NBA history to go for 55, 40, 90 club. So KD finished the year 55% field goal, above 40% three, and above 90% field goal. The first time it's ever been done. And you throw in Booker, you throw in Chris Paul being on his last legs, Ayton. I got to go Suns. I think it boils down to home court. I think this could go the full 7, but Phoenix being at home and probably being a little bit more playoff experienced, I would go Phoenix.
All right, Phoenix Suns gets 2 bids on here. Luke, who do you have?
I think the problem is you're going to miss PG probably 2 full games probably. And in the West, that's a lot. Especially in the playoff push. I think Ty Lue can come up with a plan to get it to 7. I think it'll just be too much for them by the end. It'll just be too much KD, too much Devin. It's just, I think 7 games. I give Ty Lue that, but I think the Suns win in 7.
Let me throw a scenario at you guys. The Clippers steal one in Phoenix.
I think Phoenix has the firepower to win one in LA. I just think that LA this isn't like Lakers home court. Like
right.
Clippers home court is still, it's okay, but it's nothing crazy, right?
True.
I mean, they're a Ty Lue coach team. They're sound and they come at you in waves, but I don't think they have the firepower to match up. I mean, you're talking.
That's why I give them more of a chance, because if it was Doc Rivers still in LA, I'd be like, oh, Suns in 6. But
yeah,
I actually think Ty Lue's a very good coach. And adding guys like their bench, they have like guys like Trey Mann could have 20 points. Zubac could go for like 15 and 15. Like, it just feels like they could maybe have those outliers that win them a game or 2.
Quick react: Ty Lue or Eric Spoelstra?
Spoelstra.
All right, just checking the pulse on this. All right, let's move on. Kings, Warriors, the 3-6 matchup in the West. Man. I want to focus on Kings and what's wrong, Luke?
Poor Kings, man.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Can we really say poor Kings? I don't know if you guys saw this, but they have the most expensive first-round tickets ever for the playoffs.
Well, expensive.
I mean, they don't have to travel. They don't have to travel.
No, but I'm meaning like, so their home games to get a ticket for like the nosebleeds to Sacramento's first playoff game since 2006 is over $450.
Like, that's obviously the Warriors effect, though, right?
Well, like, but okay, I get it. It's Warriors, but $450 or $460 or whatever it is.
That's true.
Like,
that is nuts.
Like, I don't know if they'll sell it out. Will they?
Yeah, I think they will, but I think there's going to be a lot of Warriors fans.
Warriors fans will travel, but if we were talking about making it a true home court where Sacramento people alone sold it out, you'd have to be $300 or lower to actually make it affordable. I think that's insane.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah, they got screwed.
Yeah, I've got Warriors in 5. Maybe I'm not giving enough respect to the Kings. Let me change that. Warriors in 6, but my heart believes it's 5. I think
they
the
have
Warriors
to win game 1 or 2, right?
Yeah,
We're assuming that they have to split before going to Golden State. There's no way that they win a road playoff game in Golden State.
that's correct. Yeah,
and they have Wiggins back, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, that's a tough go. If Wiggins was out, I would maybe say they could push it to 6, but
yeah,
now that he's back, I guess. Even when Sacramento makes the playoffs,
they're an underdog. Even when they have a tremendous season, they're an underdog.
But Golden State probably beats the other 7 teams in the first round. There's a couple teams that would really push them, but it feels like they got the 8 and the Warriors are the 1, but they just so happen to get home court.
Yeah. I mean, if the Kings shock everybody and win the first 2, I'll give them 6. I don't think they lose 4 in a row. It might even be a 7-game series.
Probably go 7, but Golden State wins out.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. All right. So, Luke, who do you have in the series?
I mean, I think I heard today when this starting 5 is healthy, they haven't lost a playoff series. I think that's what it.
We're talking Golden State, right?
That would be a true statement.
I mean, technically, Sacramento hasn't
technically,
either.
Battle of the Goliaths is what I'm hearing.
Undefeated playoff starting 5.
This is what we're gonna see.
That was them with KD.
That's true. That's true.
It is going to be really awesome to watch 140 to 135 for like 5 straight games.
Absolutely.
I mean, the best thing for Golden State is they're finally healthy.
Yeah.
Good for them, bad for Sacramento. But like, it's Sacramento really has to worry about,
What's the Golden State slogan for this playoff run? Do we know it?
Fuck if I know.
See if I can find it.
But I mean, it'll be a good look for the NBA. I'll tell you that. It is no travel.
You know what it might be called? It might just be called the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Because Sacramento's the best offense in the league. You're then going to have to play either probably Lakers or Grizzlies and then beat the Suns or Denver. Like, that's a tough road. Probably the toughest road they've had in the West in a while.
You want to know what the slogan is?
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
It's pretty corny.
What is it?
Gold-blooded. And I'm absolutely here for it. That might be that might be my favorite Warriors.
So what are the odds that you can go and buy gold-blooded merch right now?
Super high.
I want them to lose, but I just don't think that it's this series.
No, it's not. It's not this series. I do have them losing in the playoffs. It's just not
Here's
this
the thing.
series.
No matter what we get, if Lakers win, we're assuming Golden State wins here. They either get the Grizzlies, which would be just awesome because they hate each other, or you get LeBron versus Steph.
The destined LeBron-Steph matchup, which I think is what happens. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, Kenny.
Sorry, I'm getting so excited.
We have to talk about the 1-9 matchup because my predictions have the Pelicans getting that last spot. So Nuggets, Pelicans in the West. Guys, who do we have coming out from this series?
Nugs. Chicky Nuggies.
Healthy Zion, I picked Pelicans, but he's not. So,
is Zion out for sure for the playoffs?
Yeah, but his cryptic stuff, like he was complaining today about, I can't even log on social media without people making fun of me and stuff. And it's like, I mean,
yeah,
because he sprains his index finger if he presses enter with his password. Is that too much? I mean,
he's played what 50 games?
Kicking a man while he's down. Sorry. That's bad.
No, but it's justified. I mean, you were the number 1 pick and you don't play.
I do think this is a gentleman's sweep. I do think the Pelicans get 1 in this matchup.
Yeah, they might even
3.
get 2, but they would have to win both in New Orleans to do it. If not, then it's just going to be a 5-gamer. Yeah.
Agree. Luke, any difference of opinion on this one?
No, not at all.
Let's talk about the upset series we've all been waiting for. That's right. Grizzlies Lakers is our 2-7 matchup here on ITL. Let's dissect this a bit. The Grizzlies have no Steven Adams for this series. The Grizzlies have a semi Jean Morant that everybody likes. They've got the villain and Dylan Brooks, and all of a sudden the king has risen. LeBron James is back with swag. Anthony Davis playing prime. The Lakers actually look deep from having to play all season without those two. So you got Russell there also. You got a revamped group. Hachimura looks great. Kenny, who do you have in this series?
I don't want to get my hopes up because there's still a game tonight. There's still a game tonight that I'm super worried about. And I don't want to start giving big, bold Lakers takes before they even have a spot in the dance. So
you got it.
7-gamer. I'm not going to pick a winner yet.
Kenny says this is 7-game. I'm telling you right now, the Lakers are on a destiny from God. I'm taking the Lakers in this series. The Lakers absolutely match up well. They have the star power. They're finally healthy. They're clicking at the right time. They're not perfect. We all know this. One game, they may lose to the Grizzlies by 38 points. That may happen, but it's about the series wins. You can win each game by 1 and lose 3 by 38. As long as you win 4 by 1, you're in and you're moving on. I'm taking the Lakers to win this series in 6. And they wrap it up at home and wait for the Warriors to take care and quit playing with their food. Luke, who do you have in this series?
I'm gonna go with the Lakers just because I'm waiting for John Morant to do a desk pop. Still haven't seen that yet. So give me the Lakers.
All right, Lakers is unanimous here, which is scary. Oh, it's 2. 2
well, 2, yeah.
2 and undecided. That takes us to the Eastern Conference, and you got the Lakers. The Deucers have the Lakers as well. Producers have.
He's got some error. I don't really know what sport he's watching.
Who?
He says he has the Bears.
The Bears.
I know. I don't know which sports he's watching.
Londo,
I'm watching the same one.
Londo, we're on ITL tonight. All right.
The Bears is a bold take.
Yeah, it's a bold take. Let's go Eastern Conference.
Like that mustache. Anyway,
the 4-5 matchup. Cavs, Knicks, Eastern Conference. Took a brief pause there to hear what show Londo was watching right now. And Cavs, Knicks. Look, the Cavs have played fantastic. Evan Mobley has been great for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell has been phenomenal. They have their very talented roster. And the Knicks have been the Knickerbockers. They've had their comeback. The Madison Square Garden fan base has been phenomenal. Spike Lee's all about it. He's created a whole new intro for them. If you haven't seen it, it's great. Guys, I think this is the matchup to watch in round 1. I think there's a lot of lopsided series. This is the only one I feel is even worth watching. And okay, let's break it down. Luke, who do you have in this series?
I want the pure chaos of New York burning to the ground, so I want the Cavs.
He wants pandemonium in the East.
They build it up all year. They're ready for the playoffs, and then just boom, utter disaster. Both New York teams out in the first round.
Luke has chosen violence to start off the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know where Kenny's going, so I'm going to give my take here. The Cavs are young, and I think Donovan Mitchell definitely wants to get the win, but the Knicks are talented. You can't really beat them at home in the playoffs, so I'm going to take the Knicks to win this series just from the sheer talent and experience on the team. And we get to see them fabulously roll into the second round in a 6-game series, taking the Knicks to win this one. Kenny.
So I placed a wager on this series no more than an hour ago. And it was a plus 700 bet for this series. It's Knicks in 7.
Wow. I didn't know he was going to do that.
And I hate New York fans. I actually don't hate the Knicks roster. Randall's a former Laker. I like Brunson. I like Josh Hart. Like, a lot of likable guys on this team. I wish they didn't have Thibodeau, but unless they get swept, then he's probably sticking around for another year. I just think this is a very good group. I think, surprisingly to say, the Knicks probably have more playoff experience across the board.
They do.
Outside of Mitchell and a little bit of Jared Allen, we don't know what Darius Garland looks like in the playoff or Evan Mobley. So
Right.
I think that wins them one in Cleveland. Cleveland probably steals one in New York. They hold home court in 5 and 6. And then anything can happen in a game 7. And at plus 700, I think the Knicks can pull it off. Give me the Knicks in 7.
Knicks are rolling tonight. Gets a 2-1 beatdown. Luke choosing Pandemonium. And we choosing the Knicks to win in 6 or 7. That takes us to a really fun matchup of Sixers Nets at the 3-6 mark here in the East. Sixers, obviously the Harden Embiid villainy has come to take over the Eastern Conference. And the Sixers take on the Nets, where the Nets got rid of Harden, and the Nets have all these players shooting for 40 points at a given time. These random young guys. A lot of us don't even know what the Nets are doing in the playoffs at this point, but they're there. They're the 6th seed, and the Sixers Nets come up. It's a gentleman's sweep for me, guys. I think Harden and Embiid may play with their food a little bit. They may fuck around and find out in one of these games, maybe game 3 to give the Nets a little confidence. And who knows? Somebody goes for 45. You just name a random player on the Nets, and they're going to do it. So I'm taking the Sixers in 5. Kenny?
In 5.
Yeah, it's not close.
So does Cam Thomas get to play 40 minutes or 0?
He gets to play 20. Because I'm taking the average.
Then he's useless. So, Sixers sweep.
Sixers sweep. I like that. Luke?
A Sixers sweep, because this is not a crucial game. And then the real Harden and Embiid will show up, a.k.a. disappearing act.
Wow. Okay, so Sixers continue on forward, but Luke does not like their chances down the road. I put this as a joke, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen. 1-7 matchup, since the Heat are probably losing tonight and then winning the next game. So Bucks Heat in the first round is what we're predicting here on ITL.
So that's already not possible. Just kidding. Bucks are going to win in 5.
I call a sweep here. I don't think the Heat win a game in that scenario. Luke?
Bucks.
The East is so one-sided. I hate it so much. Celtics get the 2-8 matchup. Celtics Hawks would be that first one. It's technically 2-7. As a joke, I'm putting 2-8. So Celtics very talented. Hawks very talented. I actually think this is the only series that may go 6 of the big 4 teams. But I'm going to go ahead and say Celtics in 5 for this, because I think they're just way talented. But I did think that they could go 6. I like the Hawks talent-wise. I think they steal one at home. I say steal when they probably should win one at home, and then they may get lucky on the road. Puncher's chance. Luke, who do you have in this game?
What's wrong with Jaylen Brown? So what happened with Jaylen Brown?
He requested a trade to the Rockets.
Yeah, okay. No. He apparently hurt his hand somehow. Did no one else see that? Or am I?
I'm giving you the update right now. I'm getting it in from the producers. Are sending it over.
Okay. Well, anyways, I mean, Celtics win, but I think Jaylen Brown seriously broke his hand, like moving vases around or something. Like cut his hand or something. Like it was dumb what happened.
Looks like he's not able to. So he was picking up a broken glass vase and received 5 stitches on his hand. He hasn't been able to practice since, and this was middle of last week.
You're the reigning Eastern Conference champions, and you're out there picking up glass shards. What are you doing?
I respect, like, my wife, and I love her, but, like, if I knew that I had the playoffs coming up, like, I'm telling her to pick up that glass. You know?
Fuck yeah.
Why don't I have a broken glass sound? Why don't I have
like, honey, I love you, but, like, the playoffs are coming up. Like, pick up that glass. Like,
it's I'm on sorry, his shooting hand, too.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, my gosh.
Ernest is 100% going to clip that, send it to my wife, and I'm going to come home from work and just be sleeping outside.
It is going to be a Facebook Messenger message. So just keep a lookout on that app for a while. If you see that,
come on, you're worth $35 million, and you have the playoffs coming up, and you decide, hey, I busted that beer bottle. Let me grab it with my hands.
Why was that? Why is that the biggest swept under the rug story I've never heard? Like, why did I not hear about that? How
Did I
did
break
you hear
news?
about it?
I
Did I
mean, it
break
is tough to
news?
see it on the timeline early in the morning when certain people love to call out every Patriots take on the timeline. So,
Oh
like,
my gosh,
it can get a
lol.
little bit buried, is all I'm saying.
Here we go. For those that missed the poll, I'm just kidding. We're not going to go over that. So okay. So that changes my take. Celtics in 6. I'm changing it. I need a fully healthy Jaylen Brown. I got to see that update roll by. Before we continue, we go to round 2. We are going to show you guys a clip of our wonderful stream team. You catch them all on twitch.tv. The BCMG stream team doing wonderful things together. You can join today. Just send me a DM and you can be a part of the magic. Let's roll it.
The Hawks just clinched 7.
There you go. Hawks are in. Congratulations. I got to get Kenny off because he's got to watch his Lake show. All right, let's roll it.
Yo, Jill going down the hill. Gonna go fetch Jack in his little pill. Jack feeling down and that's pretty bad. Let's go.
Oh! Yo! Clip that! Clip that headshot!
No!
A pistol. What the Okay, that didn't count.
Woo! Let's go, baby. Clutch it up. Yeah, I like it.
What? No way. Did that precision just kill me?
Let's go!
Nice, Papa.
Papa with the clutch kill at the end. Let's go.
Oh, I missed. That was bad.
Got him.
Nice.
Alright, I'm going to go steal their shit.
That is definitely green.
You're dumb and it's orange.
We're both wrong, red.
I could get that solo if I tried it a couple times, but we'll come back to it.
I'm fucking dick right now. Holy shit. Like, I fucking suck right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
The BCMG stream team, you catch them every week on this show, but you also can catch them on their own feeds, twitch.tv/the Holy Man, wonderful captain of the stream team, Coach Peanut, another wonderful captain, and he has his show here with BCMG as well. Other Twitch streamers like Mama Bear. You
I got cut.
Oh yeah, no, you're not on there, Kenny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. Tankathon and coin flips is where we're going with this. Let's talk a little bit about these coin flips. Guys, I hadn't seen coin flips in a very long time. I'm so glad we still do them in the NBA. That's so wonderful. So the Spurs and Rockets have tied for the second worst record in the NBA. So we have a coin flip after the play-in tournament is over at the end of this week for the second best odds. Now, the reason why this is important is because whoever wins that coin flip can't get worse than 6, and the other one can get as worse as 7th for odds in the NBA draft lottery. Are you guys going to be watching the coin flip?
Wait, what? Did you just ask if we're watching a coin flip?
Do you feel like there's big implications by this coin flip?
No, you guys are both going to be ass next year.
That is absolutely not true for one of those. All right, the other coin flip for those.
Well, okay, I should clarify. Whoever wins the toss will be slightly less ass, and whoever doesn't.
That's what I like to hear. Now, the other piece to this is that the Clippers, Heat, and Warriors all have to do a coin flip as they all tied with their records. So picks 18 through 20 are still undecided. Are you watching this coin flip?
What?
No, you're not watching this coin flip either. Are you excited about this coin flip?
No. What? Who's watching coin flips? Luke, you must have like nothing going on if you were watching this, right?
I
Oh,
think
he's
I might
muted.
watch it. I think I might be in
He's
tune
muted.
for it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's
no.
still muted.
He's still muted and he can't tell.
Am I still muted?
No.
Oh, he's good.
Well, considering the time of death of the Penguins is 10:02 today, the 11th,
I'm
2023
sorry,
of our Lord Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'll probably watch a fucking coin flip now because that's why.
Okay, but Luke, let's say the Penguins were doing a coin flip. Are you turning that on?
I think he is.
If we get Connor Bedard or 50-50 cents of Connor Bedard, absolutely.
I think he
Well,
is.
okay, I can understand the second pick one, but we really just put up a banner to ask if we were watching the 18 through 20 coin flip.
It's true, we did. And I'm very excited for the coin flip because the Clippers pick is actually the Rockets pick. So I'm excited about this coin flip. I won 18. Crickets. All right. We're gonna.
I can't believe that we just asked if we're watching live coin flips.
I mean, there's not much else going on besides the NBA playoffs, but let's talk about the Houston Rockets. Most of you watch this for the Spurs or the Rockets, and we're doing NBA takes. Others because America's team is the Dallas Cowboys. That's why you're with us. But let's talk about the Houston Rockets, and I want your candid thoughts, okay? Because I am very optimistic about the Houston Rockets' future. Now, they don't have a head coach. I get it. You need one of those. We could talk candidates in a minute because there's a lot of good ones out there. But you have a star in Jalen Green, and he is a star. He's phenomenal. Jabari Smith just did something no rookie has ever done before in his 19-year-old campaign. And Alperen Sengun in his second year has been called Baby Jokic. So by Paul George on his podcast, before you ask me who outside the Rockets calls him that, I want to hear no bullshit. So you have three very good pillars, and in futuristic outlook, you can sign 2 max contracts this offseason if you wanted to. 1 for sure, 2 with a little wiggle room. And you have this, what could be first overall pick. So I need to know, optimistically, what are your candid thoughts on the Houston Rockets status? Where you think they should go with their head coach? I want to know, am I crazy?
You go first.
I go first?
No,
or Luke?
goes
Oh,
first.
yeah. Luke knows way more than I do on the Rockets.
I mean, obviously, they're going to sign Nate because, and then they're going to sign James Harden and wonder why they are where they are. That's exactly my thoughts.
Okay. All right. That's a thought. Kenny.
Ernest, you go.
Nah, Kenny, I want yours.
No, you go.
Nope, not at all.
Okay, so I feel bad for Silas because I don't know how you win with what they had.
That's the truth. It was definitely phase 1 of tanking.
And I feel like it's kind of just sabotaged his entire coaching career moving forward. And I feel bad for that. He'll have to be an assistant somewhere, really prove himself, and then maybe get another shot. But I don't know how you win when every player on your roster is under the age of 25 except like one guy.
Who was a rookie.
I do think that this is where they go placeholder coach. I don't think that they're going all out to find their franchise-changing coach year 1. I think that they're trying to find a guy that has the respect of the locker room that can help nurture a group get to relevancy in 2 years. Because even if it is Wembanyama or Scoot that you get, and if you slip, then that's worst case scenario. But if you get one of those guys, you're not winning right away anyways. Like in the West, you could maybe get to like the 12th spot, 11th spot, but why do you really want that right away? I think they need to go out and find, and I don't know who that veteran coach is. Maybe it's Frank Vogel. Maybe it's just someone that's dealt with rosters that haven't been the best. And he just sits there for a year or two. I think in a year or two, the Raptors may move on from a guy like Nick Nurse. And then that's the guy that you go out to like really reshape this thing. I wouldn't even sign max guys this year. To be honest, I'd be looking at veteran guys, signing 3 or 4 of them to 2-year deals with like a 1-and-1 basically. So you can decide after this year with a team option whether or not you want to bring them back. And then like really rebuild this thing. Because just having 25-year-olds leaning on 23-year-olds is not working. I don't think that you can win in the league that way. I would way rather that you just go and pay guys that may be on their last legs. It's kind of what the Knicks did. Remember when they signed Taj Gibson and they signed guys where you're like, why are they signing Taj Gibson? But then you see a couple years down the road and you're like, oh, he probably helped nurture a guy like Julius Randle. I think they need those guys. And they're going to be out there this offseason. It's not an incredible free agent class, but they can play the heavy minutes. But they need guys that are going to push them to be professionals, to actually be long-term NBA guys. And I just don't think that the strategy is, hey, James Harden's available, let's go sign him. It doesn't do anything at that point.
It's not 2K is what you're saying.
No, like just go and look at if you're playing 2K, who's a 72 to a 75 on 2K that's above the age of 30 that we can sign to a 2-year deal.
So let me ask you something. We got a slew of guys that are doing interviews, right? Atkinson is one of them. You got Atkinson, Ime Udoka,
I
Nick
like
Nurse
Atkinson.
if he drops, right? If the Raptors don't win and he gets cut, Nick Nurse. And there is somebody else I'm forgetting.
I think Vogel's in there.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes, Frank Vogel is one of them. And I think Becky Hammond's name was put around here and there.
If I'm Becky Hammond, I'm sticking with that dynasty in Vegas that they got going. Like, whew.
Absolutely. So
go win 3 straight WNBA titles and then go take your NBA job.
Exactly. So let's talk about those 4 names, right? If it's you, I mean, personally, my favorite out of all of them is Atkinson.
Yep.
He comes from the Warriors franchise. He was strong in Brooklyn. I just love, he's a player's coach.
He nurtured those young guys in Brooklyn, the D'Angelo Russells and the Jared Allens and the Spencer Dinwiddie's, to where now they are long-term NBA guys. You hire Atkinson or Vogel for the next year or two, and then when Udoka figures out how to be a professional with women in your organization, and when Nick Nurse is done coaching with the Raptors because they finally go into a much-needed rebuild, then there's your guy that takes them to title territory. But they don't need to think title territory in 2025. They need to think about title territory in 26, 27.
Yeah, I am with that. Even if you land Wemby or Scoot, I think you are not contending.
25-30 wins.
Yeah, you're not considered contending until you establish your core with your top 3 or 4 guys after the next 3 years.
Don't you kind of want to wait around for some of these teams above you to blow up too?
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of want the Lakers to have LeBron be done.
Yeah.
You want Kawhi to finally be done. You
Warriors
want KD
to dissolve.
Chris Paul. The Warriors dissolve. And then that leaves you with who knows what. And a lot can change in the league. Maybe free agency, you see one of these East guys go west, like a Jaylen Brown or something. But I just think that with where you're at, suck for another year or two.
Like, do I hope Trae Young and Luka eventually won out, and maybe you can pick up one of them in their prime?
Yeah. If you get Wemby and then you add Luka, that's huge. It's an established franchise at the very least. You guys have that going for you compared to the Orlandos, to where the Spurs are at now, because Pop's going to be done coaching probably in a couple of years. It's not the same Detroit culture. Houston hasn't established over the last 20 years have been consistently pretty good.
So
I just on hard times.
There's a guy on the bench, right? He won the G League title twice, right? I always mess up his name, so I'm gonna look up his name real quick. And he's been like phenomenal for the Vipers. And then he finally gets to sit on the bench for Houston this year as one of the main coaches. I'm not talking about John Lucas. I know many people are high on John Lucas and want him to get another, another chance. So it's Mahmoud, and I'm going to mess up the last name, Abdelfata, something like that. He has been phenomenal. He was like the next prodigy behind Nick Nurse as he went through the system. It's like, if you're Houston, though, I don't know if you take a chance bringing somebody off the bench who has proven to be a winning coach. And so what are your thoughts of bringing somebody in system up and being that transition, considering they have the players' respect? He's a winner. Is that something you would do? And he knows the culture already.
Yeah, I think that's an all right move. I'm still just fascinated with, and I'm going to sound like the most pretentious dick, my own thoughts around this team, where I'm literally scrolling through who's free agents this year. And I see names like Derrick Rose, where I'm like, Derrick Rose on a 1-and-1's nice. I see Jordan Clarkson on a 1-and-1's nice. I see Mason Plumlee is a nice 1-and-1. Joe Ingles is a nice 1-and-1. I'm just thinking of those guys because I'm assuming you have $1 million, billion, trillion of cap room.
We do.
I can't imagine that with all 24-year-olds and younger that you spent a lot of money. But this is where you can pay those vets, and when these young guys start coming up for deals.
It's exactly what Stone wants to do. He even said that in his press conference. Now we're going to go outside vet guys, and we're going to build this team out.
Like, think about a Corey Joseph. That's just been in a lot of big playoff moments, probably on the downturn, but he helped Cade quite a bit last year, and he helped Killian Hayes a little bit last year. He's maybe someone that could help mentor like a Kevin Porter Jr., somebody to get them to straighten up. Like, these are just the moves that I'm thinking. Jeff Green, you bring him back. Wasn't he?
Do you like Kevin Porter Jr.?
No.
You don't like him. Do you think he's a point guard?
No, I think he's a 2.
Okay.
To be honest, he just reminds me of Jordan Clarkson.
So you just left him.
Which is why I mentioned that name, because I'm like, if he comes in and mentors Kevin Porter Jr., he could maybe get him to figure out the like immaturity stuff, but really hone in what he's good at to find a 10-year career here. Because I think his trajectory right now is out of the league in 3 years.
Really? You think so? He's so talented, though.
I think he's talented, but at the end of the day, there's a lot that still needs to be unpacked there, like off the court.
I think he's not a fantastic starting point guard, but I think he's a tremendous 6-man.
Yeah, and that's why Clarkson works, because Clarkson wasn't a great starter. He was a great bench guy. Even like a George Hill, if he wanted to just be like, hey, we'll sign you to $15 million for 1 year or $10 million for 1 year. You're probably not going to pick up the team option, but at the very least, we're going to pay you. If he is going to be a point guard, that's a guy to show you how to do it. I think they just need to establish, like, what are the roles of these guys? I don't think that they fully know. Is Jalen Green your scorer? Is Jabari Smith your scorer? Who's your distributor? Who's going to play defense?
Throughout Prince and Goon. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, that's enough Rockets talk. They're not playing the playoffs. The Lakers are. We are all about tonight's game. You got to get off to watch your game. We got to get out of here. But before we do that, we got a BCMG guarantee. We're going to give 2 games for this week. You guys absolutely love. So I'm going to give you some time to look that up while they look up their 2 games for this week. Yes, Luke, I need 2 games from you. Yes, Kenny, I need 2 games for you. Yeah, that's right. BCMG guarantee. We're going to put a 6-game parlay on the screen, and Kenny's going to give us those odds right after. But first off, when will ITL be live? So for the first time ever on this show, we are not going to be weekly, as this is our final weekly show of ITL. So what does that mean for you? How can you catch these wonderful faces and these awesome personalities in your ear, in your eyes, right here on this show? I'll tell you right now, mark on your calendars when we will be live. Here it comes right now. The NFL draft is Thursday, April 27th. We will be live to cover day 1 at least on ITL and making appearances on the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast and a couple of
you're
others.
appearing too.
Yes, I will be there on Kenny's show. Kenny, what you're going to be I'm
on Good Old Boys.
Oh, you're going to be there also? Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so Kenny and I will be on there together, and probably both covering different parts. I'm probably doing Texans and Cowboys. Who are you covering, Kenny?
Oh, good question. I got reached out to a week or 2 ago, and I went and looked, and I'm like, sure, I'll make it work. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think they threw in some Bears too in there, so I might be covering all 3 of those teams. But if Kenny's on there, we'll cover Cowboys together. I'll just bring you on anyways, and we can have some fun. So Thursday, April 27th, April 28th, and 27th for the Good Old Boys. And then a couple other shows reached out and maybe on there. I'll just flirt those show links out there for you guys to keep a lookout on likes and retweets. The next show after April 27th is May 16th, the NBA Draft Lottery. May 16th is when we will be live again. That's Tuesday, May 16th. You can catch an episode of ITL here. We'll be covering the Draft Lottery and reacting live to what those odds come out. I will either be really sad or really happy, depending on that show. Also, that is about 10 days before Trey's expected to be here. So we will be in high energy mode here at the Silva household. And then we move on to our second to last. No, this will be our last show of the season. And that is June 22nd, Thursday, June 22nd for the NBA draft. We'll be doing another live react to the NBA draft and who gets selected where. We did a wonderful show last year. We'll try to get some celebrity guests on there. We'll try to bring on some great faces, familiar faces on that show. The NBA draft will be our season 4 finale of ITL into the summer. And Trey should be here about a month, and I'll maybe have you guys say hi to him. Our debut show for next year, our season 5 debut show, will be Tuesday, July 25th. We go straight into fantasy football mode and start talking football on this show. That's a month off, our first month off ever on ITL. And we're going to come right back at it with fantasy football talk quarterbacks on our Tuesday, July 25th show. The return is what we're labeling it. And Kenny and I will be back with all new casts. Who knows who will be on at that time.
Wait, are you telling me that I am the season 5 co-host?
Breaking news! Kenny is the season 5 co-host! Congratulations, Kenny!
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, let me play the bit. Hold on. It's hidden.
Give me a hell yeah!
There you go, Kenny. Congratulations. Kenny returning season 5 co-host. Luke, I know you're in the running. I know you're sad about it. It's okay. Next, Kenny and I are sticking around together for another season on ITL. The final announcement before we go into our BCMG guarantee. The ITL Hoopathon will be August 19th, 2023. Mark it on your calendars. It's the third weekend in August in Houston, Texas. Triple double basketball will be making its reappearance. A couple of San Antonio clubs and a couple of Houston clubs as well will be making their appearance. The ITL Hoopathon will have our first ever 4-team Hoopathon match play. We're excited. We're hoping to have everybody here from BCMG. A lot of our Texas folks who are usually making those trips to Harlingen, Texas, to Cape Cod. There's a lot of us here in Texas. We'll all be there. The producers will be making the trip. We're excited to see Londo and Rachel making the trip over to the Hoopathon. So a lot of us will be there that are already here. Mark, Steph, Sheila, Ashley, the whole group. Hopefully, we get some rare appearances from Davis and a couple others, which we got to do our Mount Rushmore. But okay.
Is that how we're capping off the show after we do this?
We are.
So before we give the parlay, so I'll give you my 2 plays. I'm hijacking this segment.
Go for it.
The Mount Rushmore is ITL personalities. That doesn't necessarily mean the greatest people to ever be on the show, the greatest analyst to ever be on the show, because I'm the greatest analyst, but it doesn't necessarily mean like that. It's in the history of ITL who have been the 4 most entertaining people that we've had on the show. And to make it more difficult, so we're not just turning this into oh my God, we're all amazing, we can't pick each other.
That's the deal.
Okay, so I'm going to start the parlay. 2 legs. Chicago Bulls money line. They're going to beat the Toronto Raptors tomorrow. And Real Madrid money line in the Champions League against Chelsea tomorrow. -150 for Real Madrid, +175 for the Bulls. Luke, what are your parlay picks? Uh-oh, he's muted. Oh my God, the mute. No.
I'm such a rookie. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Well, tomorrow I want the Rays to keep going. I want them to go for 12, so I'll take Tampa Bay -125 against Boston. And what was my other one? It was the Brewers over the Diamondbacks, Milwaukee -135.
Milwaukee -135. Kate, Ernest, what have you got?
I am going to Skew
Can't find the
the
Milwaukee one right now. Okay,
skew the runs a bit. I'm taking the run line on the Astros -1.5 tomorrow against the Pirates.
I got them at plus 100.
Beautiful. And I am going to take the Pelicans -5.5 against the Thunder.
Luke, can you find me one more earlier game so that way I can actually make it an odds tonight? So you're taking Pelicans -5.5?
That is correct.
Okay, Pelicans -5.5. And then, so we have 5 legs there. Because Arizona and that are playing right now, I don't on my book
They have an open odds
yet for tomorrow. So that's why I had to take a different
We'll go with
the Cubs Mariners game is nuts.
Yeah. Is it 14-8?
Yeah.
There's just no good line. Like, how far are we trying to stretch this here? This line, there's not a good line.
You can go soccer or hockey.
Well, hockey's a nightmare right now.
Honestly, none of the games matter except for a couple, and it's really tough to pick, so I don't blame them.
I'll go with the Angels then tomorrow against the Nationals, -170.
Okay, so 6-legger, plus 4,900.
That's a winner right there. I'm putting that in too. Ken, you're gonna have to send that to me.
I'll toss $10 on it. Actually, I'll toss 5 on it. I'm not putting a full unit on a 6-legger, but
I'm going full unit on the 6-legger.
Okay, Bulls money line, Real Madrid money line, Tampa money line, Astros -1.5, Pelicans -5.5, and Angels money line tomorrow. $10 to win $533.
That's easy money. Wait, where's the plug? Damn it.
Shout out to
Easy money!
There it is.
All right, so
okay.
ITL all-time personalities. We're gonna start with Luke, then we're gonna go to Ernest, and then I'll cap it off.
Oh fuck. Well, we'll have to go with Jim. What was it? I always forget his name. It's Jimmy out in LA, right? He always
Denny.
That's what it is.
That's a good personality.
Denny was a good personality. Yep.
I think Denny would be up there. Any one of the guys from what was it?
MTMV.
Oh, MTMV Sports. Great.
Probably any of those guys. Dre Rogers, obviously, just because of the surrounding areas. Four's a tough spot, man. Oh man.
So to clarify, you haven't named any of my 4 either.
Perfect.
It's very true.
Great.
Perfect. 4. It would have to be. I want to try to keep it a little diverse here. We haven't had that many girl ITL people on here before, have we?
No.
We haven't had a lot of women on here before. So
we've had Alaya, Ash, Steph.
I think Ash is an all-timer.
I think Ash is my 4. Yeah, we'll go with Ash at 4.
Okay, Ernest, your top 4.
Oh man, this is so tough. You guys are all such good personalities.
We're going down that road.
It's so
like
true.
Every other award show, like, oh my god, there was so many great winners, but
wait for the butt.
I feel I need like the music to start off this debate. I have so many good ones. Okay, so Ashley is probably number 4 for me. So I do share that one because she was brought back by popular request. A lot of people wanted her back on. And so I've got to say she was a personality loved by the general public. So I'm going to go Ashley, Sweet Peach 4_ for those who like to follow her still as my number 4 spot. Number 3 has got to be Miles Bloomquist because Miles Bloomquist has so many clips you could probably make from his random and outburst and his takes. And he won the pick'em in season 1. It was phenomenal. I think that's my number 3 spot. Number 2 for me is Steve the General Reisner, because everybody would talk about the crickets or talk about him smoking weed or talking about his crazy outlandish takes or how passionate he get fighting for the Patriots. And like, that was like a huge grab for the New England audience. So like easily Steve at number 2. And number 1, since I can't pick Kenny, number 1 is probably going to have to be, drum roll, please. Dre Rogers. Dre Rogers is number 1 for me. Dre has been an absolute Indonesian steal for this show, and he's done the most random takes, talking to street people, going to different places. It's just like you look for Dre, and then he created an Instagram profile for people to follow him, and it's been like the wonderful world of Dre. So I'm going to have to go Dre Rogers at number 1. So Dre, Steve, Miles, and Ash are my top 4.
So you said that Ash, you get requests for her to come back on. Do you get many requests for like other Labsters to be on the show?
Yeah, I do. I've
like, who are your highly requested people to be on?
I've had Rick Sincere from MTMV Sport asked to come back on. I've had like 3 or 4 people ask me for that one. You were, before you were a regular, people would ask, is Kenny coming back? Usually around basketball season. I have had people ask for Asian Tatum and ask where is he at? So that's been a frequent answer. The only other person I think gets like really like the big draw were people that I had locally. So people have asked me like, when is Plesswalker and Reg gonna actually get their segment, because I've referenced them having a segment and they never get one. And the old guys are actually coming on in season 5, so it's one of our additions. Nice. So I'm excited for them to be joining us.
So I'm going to give you 3 honorable mentions that we haven't said.
I feel like you've done research on this.
No, I literally wrote them down as we were going. I think Paul has to be referenced.
Oh yeah,
I loved having Paul on. I thought that he had a lot of great takes. He was obviously a co-host of a previous show, so Paul's there. Vaughn Dalzell.
So that's my 5. That's my honorable mention.
So Vaughn has to be mentioned because his betting stuff was always great. And I think he's just a great personality in general. And that's pretty clear by what he's gone on to do outside of ITL. And one that's a bit of a sleeper. Do you remember Cade?
Oh, Cade. Yeah, how could I forget?
Cade came on and we talked baseball a bit. And he knew his baseball stuff. And I wish that I would have kept in touch. Funny enough, he came on 1 or 2 ITL shows. And then we added each other on PlayStation. We played a couple games of Apex, and then we just lost contact. So,
I love that.
Okay, number 4. I think that there's a place for Miles Bloomquist as well.
Yeah.
Definitely just the way that he was. He had a lot of great sound bites. Number 3 is Luke Stansfield. Anytime Luke would hop on, he was so biased. Like,
so biased.
If Steve was slightly biased, he was so biased. So I think that there's a place for that one. I honestly think at number 2, there's a major case for Davis Cordova being a great personality, because I think he's one of the greatest trolls in the history of this show. Not just towards Steve. I just think he was great in general at trolling people, because you could never tell when he was trolling. You'd be like, he's being serious, and then he'd be like, I'm just kidding. And you're like, oh. And you would have no idea. And I do think that the ITL GOAT of personalities we butted heads on many occasions is Steve the General Reisner. I think that there's just a place for his personality. He's a literal character on Twitter. He is the general on Twitter. Like, does it get any more personality-based than that? So I had Steve number 1 as personality Mount Rushmore of ITL. Now, obviously, we couldn't pick each other on here, but I think that there's been a lot of great personalities. The other 2 was the UK crew of Will and Seb, because they made very brief appearances. I thought that there was some value there that those guys brought. When you think about of all the episodes of ITL, you've probably had over 50 people appear on this show. Right?
Yeah.
50 would probably be...
That's probably low.
Almost lowballing it.
That's low. Yeah,
there were weeks where you had 8 or 9 on at once.
We've probably had close to 100 people on this show doing segments and talking, and that's That's because we haven't even mentioned, Londo's been on this show, Rachel's been on the show,
Harrison Brooks,
Sheila's been on the show, Harrison Brooks.
Jet.
Harrison was an all-time troll.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned it a little earlier, but Aliyah was on this show, and her stuff has gotten big.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her now. That makes
Aliyah.
Yeah.
She.
Has
Sports
Coach Peanut ever appeared on ITL?
Yeah, Coach Peanut's been on a couple times. We had the baseball guru Lucas was on here for a while. He was on here.
Yeah.
Even we mentioned that old streamer that was on here doing fantasy football for a while. What's his name?
Ryan? Is that his name?
Was it Ryan? I don't remember his name. He was a streamer though, and then he decided to do fantasy football. We gave him that segment, and he ran with his own show for a while. Mark has even been on ITL.
Yes.
Mark's been on ITL.
Behind the scenes guru.
We didn't even mention Andrew, but I think he's just such a regular that
Andrew and Josh.
Yeah. Josh was another one. Josh is an all-time personality too.
I don't want anybody to think we're ending the show. We're not ending the show. So it's great to go down memory lane. It's just been
where's the sappy music? Where's the Titanic music going down?
Our first show ever was just me and Steve shooting the shit. And it was not live. We had no face. It was just us on phones talking to each other. And then we recorded it on Anchor. And I loved it. And so then we decided to expand from there. And then BCMG eventually brought me in. But I remember that first time and us calling a couple of things in the NBA. And then we just ran like, hey, why don't we just do this? And it was phenomenal. So, it's been
Eric Sports Picks, another one.
Eric is a good personality.
The segment was always great. So, no, I mean, I think that sometimes you forget when you've been podcasting for a long time the amount of incredible people that you've had on a show. Like between my previous one and mine now, probably like 150, 200 guests.
Yeah,
like it's crazy how many people you actually meet in the podcasting world and people that you forget about. But I think that's the fun of it.
We had new sports podcasts on here every week when we were doing the trivia stuff.
When trivia,
Good Old Boys was on here, and Justin Bruni was on here. And
I was undefeated in trivia.
That is true. You're undefeated. We didn't even talk about Job and the source, like
Source Pod,
the model. So I mean, we've had a lot of things on this show.
No comment. Anyways, great wrap up.
Yeah, great wrap up. Thank you guys for sticking around for all y'all who decided to stay around the full, hour.
Well, I feel
minutes.
like we need to play the Titanic music.
Nothing. There's no ship going down, but we will see you guys in a couple of weeks for the NFL draft. April, I think that day was April 27th. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, April 27th. We'll be back live. So no show next week, but we'll be back the following, and that's a Thursday. Guys, we are so excited for Trey to be arriving. We're super stoked here in San Antonio. We're super stoked with the family. Can't wait for the announcement. Appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving this show. Kenny, Luke, and I will definitely be back month to month with this show, and then we'll have the big season finale on the day after my birthday for the NBA draft. So we'll be having a big birthday show and a big birthday shout out to end season 4. Thank you guys so much for all your support again. Luke, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
You can't find me anywhere. I'm off grid, so leave me alone. You can find me in Regina, Saskatchewan next year, though, at some point.
Whoop,
sure. We'll just
and in Houston, Texas.
And Houston, Texas. I'm a world traveler now. Yeah. So I'll see you in Texas. How about that?
That's beautiful. That's a good guarantee for me. I'm about to ring the light for you.
Yeah.
There we go. Luke in Houston.
Yep.
All right, Kenny, where can people find you?
You can follow me at HedgePod. I think I'm going to go live tomorrow morning. We'll see how this Laker game goes and whether or not that first glass of wine turns into a bottle or two. So we'll see how that goes. It's always fun coming on ITL every week. It is one of my favorite times of the week being able to hop on here, especially with you and Luke. So appreciate you having me on as always. I know we're moving to monthly and I'm super excited for you and the wife, but it is a bit somber that we have to only see each other once a month. So don't be a stranger. If you're ever up, because you have a kid and stuff and you're going to be up super early in the morning, then you're always welcome on Competitive Hedge.
Oh, that's a deal. We might do that. Maybe you can catch me on Comp Hedge a couple of times and I'll just go plug in some rocket stakes for you.
Give me some Astros bets.
Okay, that's better.
When they're minus 300 all year, give me Astros money line.
Yeah, I'll let you know how many runs are going to score. Maybe a Jordan slam. All right, guys, I'm excited. It's a new chapter, a new era here on ITL. And I thank you guys for being a part of the magic. We are going to come back full throttle next year on week to week. We have a new cast behind the scenes. I've got some new recruits coming in. We got a new cast on the scenes with the old take, the old couple take. It's going to be fun, guys. So we're really excited. Stick with us. NFL Draft. We'll see you guys. We appreciate all the love and support. I'm your host, Ernest Silva, powered by Blue Collar Media Group. This is the Into the Lab podcast. Signing out for a couple weeks. See you guys at the NFL Draft. Good night, everybody.